Do you ever feel like absolutely no one understands you? Do you ever feel like you really worked so hard to make that first impression and the thing bombs? Welcome to More Out of Life and Business. We are going to be talking today about being misunderstood and what to do about it when we feel misunderstood. So many people take feeling misunderstood personally, and they kind of crawl into a hole, feel sorry for themselves, feel frustrated or angry at themselves or maybe the other person. I can tell you firsthand that I have often in my life felt very misunderstood. I kind of have a unique marriage situation. I am an Italian American from Edison, New Jersey. I was born and raised in an urban, suburban area close to New York City, and just a very forthright, vivacious, exciting kind of a life that I had when I was living at home as a kid. Well, I grew up and I ended up marrying somebody the complete opposite of everything that I knew as a kid. I married a German Mennonite man who lived on a farm his own life in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Two people cannot be more different than my husband and I. But I am happy to report that 21 years later, we are still living under the same roof and we still love each other. We kind of balance each other out a bit too. But marrying cross-culturally does not mean that everything has been smooth sailing in the being misunderstood department. I can tell you many times people have taken me at first glance and maybe concluded some things about the type of person I am based upon how I act, how I dress, or how I talk. Well, being misunderstood isn't only a me thing in my life, it is something that affects so many people in both life and business. The Harvard Business Review recently endorsed a book by Heidi Grant Halverson called No One Understands You and What to Do About It. So today we're going to be talking about 3 tips from the book about what you can do when you feel misunderstood and how you can deal with it in healthy ways. The first tip is that you only get one chance to make a good first impression. Have you heard that before? We all have, but unfortunately in the world, it's true. And oftentimes that first impression isn't the fullness of who we are as a human being. We're kind of like an onion. You cut it open and there's a million layers inside. So, it is something that's important. Admit you only get one chance, but don't be too hard on yourself if you're misunderstood. Because, hey, one 30-second opportunity really isn't that much for anyone. Number 2, you're not a good judge of how you're viewed by other people. I know for myself, I used to think I'd get in front of the mirror and say, I look this way, I feel this way, I will act this way. Surely this is how people are going to interpret me. Not the case. We all need a good judge, constructive, loving criticism, how we're really being viewed by other people. So if you don't have that person in your life that you feel like can be open and honest with you, give you constructive, heartfelt criticism, be on the lookout for it. That person may be in your life and you're just not utilizing them in that way. But it's critical for when we feel misunderstood. Number 3, how can we repair misunderstandings? It is possible. The reality is, despite our best intentions, sometimes we're still going to be misunderstood. There are 2 different methodologies that you can try when you feel misunderstood. The first one is called the bombardment method. Now, if someone looks at you and says, oh, you're polished, you're glamorous, you can't possibly understand the type of person that I am. One way to counterbalance that is to talk about how you worked in a soup kitchen or what you did for your family. Making sure that people see that you have other values other than perhaps the way that you're being perceived in the moment. The second way to counteract this type of thing is called the teamwork method. For example, I bring business teams down to the country of Haiti to do business trainings, workshops, and seminars for business entrepreneurs. Many times these business people will come together, and that first meeting, all kinds of judgments are happening. People are looking at each other's resumes, backgrounds, experience. But by 1 week's time, living in a country together, working together side by side, I see a shift that happens where people who may have thought they had nothing in common or their backgrounds in business had no connection end up becoming lifelong friends. So that methodology is called the teamwork method, and you can use that in your own business. In the next video, we're going to be talking about ways to build teamwork using the teamwork method. The bombardment method does work as well, but it takes a whole lot longer and sometimes can be interpreted as a little bit disingenuous. So the teamwork method is always the preferred method. So to sum it up, everyone feels misunderstood at times. We can crawl in a hole. We can feel bad about that. We can be mad at the person or people who judged us unfairly. Or we can use these kinds of tips to help turn the tide. It'll help us with our own psyche, our own mindset, and hopefully in time, help us with our own business. Thanks for watching more out of Life and Business. I'm so glad you joined us. So how do you handle it when you feel misunderstood in the workplace? What do you do in order to turn that tide? I'd love to hear from you. Please visit my website, KristenHertzog.com, and let me know what works for you. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.